How's it going, guys? It's ZagTech2995 here, and today I have a special video for you guys because you guys are actually going to be meeting one of my oldest friends on here. Not by age, more of like how long I've known this guy, and we're going to be reviewing the Netflix original movie Death Note, which in my opinion is kind of a loose adaptation of the anime series under the same name. And would you like to introduce yourself, man?
Yeah, sure. I'm Vladimir, old friend of Sax here. Yeah, I saw the movie the day it came out, and I have a lot of opinions on it. My thoughts on the movie have sort of changed a bit over time, but I think you got a pretty good idea of how I feel about it. I also am a Death Note fan. I never actually finished the anime, but I did read the entire manga from the first issue to the last one.
Got you.
So that's where my Death Note experience came from.
Yeah, my little Death Note experience, just to set it up for everyone, because I mentioned this a little bit when I did the trailer reaction video, but I remember watching Dragon Ball Z as a kid, but because I was a kid and I was too young, I didn't really remember too much of it. But so that's why I consider Death Note to be like the very first anime I've ever watched where I was kind of able to understand the genre a little bit. Uh, when my favorite character kind of bit the dust, I wasn't as interested in it anymore. So I never really finished it, but I kind of, I'd read the Wikipedia and I watched or I looked at the manga online and I was like, whatever. But yeah, excuse me, that's just my kind of background on Death Note. But it's a really widely acclaimed, widely acclaimed novel. So we were gonna have a adaptation of it eventually. But for those of you who don't really know, Japan actually has made, I believe, several movies on this, if I remember correctly. But
I think it's like two or three.
Yeah, they made 2 or 3 of them in Japan, but we're gonna be reviewing the Netflix movie that just came out yesterday. I got off of work, immediately came home, started the Riff.tv live stream, and just started watching it. And this movie stars Nat Wolff, Lakeith Stanfield, and Willem Dafoe, and is directed by Adam Wingard. And the description on here says Light Turner, so that's one thing that they changed for those of you at home. Light Turner finds a supernatural notebook and uses it to met out death, attracting the attention of a detective, a demon, and a girl in his class. So that's kind of a light summary of it. But we'll give our thoughts and our opinions, and we might go into spoilers because this is one of those movies where I think we kind of need to kind of get our more honest opinions on this film.
I think we should start off trying to avoid spoilers. So
yeah,
let's give everyone just a very broad thoughts on the film.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah. So I guess you can go first.
Okay. I will say the first 10 to 20 minutes of this movie, I was very impressed on what they were able to do. It looked a lot better than I thought it was going to be, because when I saw the trailer, I was kind of cautious at first because of all the different changes they made to it. But the first 10 to 20 minutes, I was like, wow, they're doing a pretty good job with this. I mean, Nat Wolff kind of overacted a little bit when he first met Ryuk, in my opinion, but that's just, it's a small budget film, so you kind of expect that stuff to happen. But the first 10 to 20 minutes I thought was pretty good. They kind of did a good job of establishing Light's character as a guy who kind of sees a bunch of shit going on and he wants to do something about it, but he can't really, because people keep telling him, like, you don't really know what right and wrong is. You're too impulsive, you're too quick to kind of judge people. You kind of need to slow down a little bit and kind of you need to kind of simmer down a little bit and see what's really going on. But he's he already has his mind made up, and I thought that was kind of cool how they kind of did that with his character.
Yeah, I would say immediately I realized, as soon as they introduced Light, I realized that wasn't the same character from the anime or the manga.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
This is definitely not Light. I mean, not the Light that we're all accustomed to. Like, okay, you could say he's smart. I mean, the first thing we see him do is math. He's doing math homework. But
yeah, he's doing homework for everyone, pretty much.
As soon as you realize it's not his math homework, that's when it came to me. Okay, this guy is not the bright, like, oh, he's the best of his class. He's so clean, and nobody was suspecting. This kid could be a school shooter, and you would believe it. He's a little, he's got his problems. He's got his issues. So that was definitely a very noticeable difference, was his character. Another thing would be he's not necessarily as smart as his anime counterpart, but here's the thing. I don't think none of those things are really bad.
Right.
Like, fine, you can make a completely different character. I was actually expecting this to be completely different in a lot of ways. So that didn't bother me too much that this guy was different. I kind of wanted to see, okay, well, maybe this is what would happen if Death Note came to a kid who maybe wasn't really the brightest or the most well prepared like the original Light was. I mean, so from that point of view, it's interesting.
Right. Yeah, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was also going to point something out, and talking about the first few minutes, I really do like the art direction. It's very well shot. It visually is a very impressive movie, and it's got a good soundtrack to it. But no, you go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that I definitely noticed a difference in Light Turner's character, because like we said in the anime, and I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna kind of compare anime to movie just because it's kind of it's based on the source material, so we're gonna make some whatchamacallit, we're gonna make some connections here and there, but yeah, like you said, they tweaked his character a little bit, but I don't mind it because this is supposed to be like a American adaptation or American version of the anime. So the fact that they kind of changed up some of these characters, especially with one that I'll definitely get into later, is just it's understandable. But yeah, the fact that he's just making all these homeworks for kids, getting money from it. We saw a kid hand him money, and he handed him like a piece of paper. So apparently he's smart enough to kind of write down the answers and just give it to people, and that's kind of when we get the Death Note falling from the sky, which is like one of the most iconic images of the anime, is just the Death Note falling, and he grabs it, and then he ends up getting detention, and that's when we end up meeting Ryuk, which in my opinion was one of the strongest parts of the movie, which is voiced by Willem Dafoe, which to me is just fantastic casting right there.
Oh yeah, and not just voice. I mean, that was him in the suit.
Oh, it was? I thought that was digital.
No. Well, I mean, part of it was digital. The face was completely digital, but the rest of his body was a suit.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Damn, they got me.
But yeah, I would agree with you. Willem Dafoe as Ryuk was one of the best choices you could possibly get for an actor to play Ryuk.
Right.
And now I think everybody already knows who's in this movie. It's not too surprising. You got Light, you got L, you got Ryuk, you got his dad, you got me. All the main players of the story. The characters you all know. Now, they were all with the exception of maybe two of them, they're all very different from their anime counterparts.
Right.
The dad is completely different. Mia's completely different. Light's completely different. L is actually very accurate to how he was portrayed in the manga and anime, with
A few tweaks
at
here and
the end,
there.
without spoiling anything. He does some stuff that I can't see L from the anime doing at the very end of the movie.
Definitely. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and Ryuk was very accurate. Well, I think he might have gotten a little too involved in some parts of the movie, because Ryuk in the anime manga was always just kind of watching from the distance.
Yeah,
Every once in a while, he would like give Light a little advice, be like, "Hey, here's a guy watching you, and you might want to be careful with this, be careful with that.
Like, what are you gonna do about it, kind of thing."
Yeah, that type of stuff. But in the movie, he does, like, the very first time you see him, he's very like, "Okay, I'm gonna push you. I'm gonna show you how to do this."
Like, you want to help her, right? Kind of thing. Yeah. That was kind of something I noticed too.
Yeah, with like, he even has like telekinetic powers, so that was very new.
Yeah. But yeah, the one thing about Ryuk I really liked, and I don't know if this was because of the small budget, but I really like the fact that they mostly kept Ryuk like in the shadows, because in my opinion, that made him truly terrifying, because you're just seeing like this shadowy figure with glowing gold eyes, like kind of in like the corner of the room. You would hear his voice, and like it would kind of send shivers down your spine, because he's a Shimigami, which is a death god, and just him being in the shadows just makes it so terrifying. Like, he's kind of like a Reaper like figure, and when you get those close-up shots and you see like the full detail in his face, like it's truly horrifying, like how demonic he looks. So that was really good. I really liked how they mostly kept him in the shadows, and but him kind of like pressuring Light to use the notebook, which another thing I really liked about the movie is just the deaths, the way that people get killed, because it kind of reminded me of Final Destination in a way, and it was just like hard to watch at some points.
There were some great scenes there. Like, the director's Adam Wingard. I believe he directed It Follows and
that's a good movie.
The latest Blair Witch movie.
Yeah, those are some good movies. I watched both of them. They're really good.
So he's definitely knows how to do violence in horror movies. He knows how to, his background is mostly horror. So it was really cool to see a little bit of that implemented into the movie. The movie itself it's not a horror movie.
But it has that element to it.
Have horror elements. Yeah, horror elements.
Yeah, because it's mostly a crime kind of detective story with bits of like horror implemented into it. So with all that being said, let's talk about my man L. Now this right here, this got a lot of controversy when they first announced the movie, and I'm just gonna say right out of the gate, I don't mind that they made L black. The only issue I have, because in the anime, he's kind of introverted, he's a little weird, but once people kind of figure out, like, hey, this guy knows what he's doing, they kind of like they follow behind, they kind of follow him, they stand by him no matter what. But in this movie, he's seen acting kind of weird, and it gets to the point where during one scene of the movie, the dad's like, I knew this guy was off the moment I saw him, and like they kind of started like manhunting him. I'm like, you guys are kind of like, you're not getting the bigger picture. Like, he like to me, it kind of felt like they casted him out because the characters found him too weird, which was totally opposite of the anime. That's kind of the only issue I had with it. I thought the guy who played him did a good job with what he was given. It's just the character interactions I wasn't really too fond of.
Yeah, something I really anime was having. Oh wait, I think we're getting very close to spoiler territory. So I think we pretty much got off. Okay, I'm just gonna before we go any further,
All
I'm
right.
gonna go ahead and just give you my brief thoughts on it. The movie itself, I think, it's not the best version of a Death Note story. It
Right.
really isn't. And the best one for me will always be the original, the manga and
Yeah.
the anime, which they're so close, in quality that I'm just going to put them in the same category. I think that's the best story you could possibly do with Death Note, the original. It's very good. This here, I want to say, look, it's definitely got some good values to it. There's some great stuff about the movie that I really enjoyed. And as a Death Note fan, maybe some of that stuff is just because I recognize that from the manga. But
Right.
it honestly isn't the best. It isn't the worst either. I wouldn't call it complete garbage. I think
Right.
there's some good stuff in there, but it's not going to live up to the original. If you were expecting something that was, it's faithful to the original source material, dumb. It's like you said, it's very loose.
Yeah.
Very loose. This is cloudy with a chance of meatballs levels of loose adaptation.
Yo, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, so like I said, anime fans might not like this movie a lot, but if you've never seen Death Note, never read the manga, you might get a kick out of it. The acting can kind of vary a little, but for the most part, I thought it was solid.
It was
There are some
fun.
interesting little twists that they have on the characters and the scenarios,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's not going to win any Oscars, that's for sure.
Right.
Except for maybe visual effects, but other than that, it's kind of an average movie. But if you go into it not expecting intelligent crime drama, because it's not an intelligent crime drama. I think anybody can understand what's going on.
Right.
If you just going in it, with like, okay, I'm gonna entertain myself, you might enjoy it. Just it's entertaining.
All right. So, what rating would you give it before we kind of dive into spoilers?
I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 5 out of 10 because it does. There are some things it does that I think are kind of sloppy, but there's enough in there that I think I could watch it a few more times and have a little bit of fun with it. Even maybe even get a good chuckle at some of the stranger bits of acting in the movie.
Right.
Yeah, but like I said, it's a 5 out of 10 for me. It's not terrible, but it's not amazing.
Ooh, I might actually give it a little higher of a rating. So my whole thought is, it's a loose adaptation, so going in, you kind of have to see it as its own kind of entity. I thought the acting was okay. It's not the worst acting I've ever seen, because if you want bad acting, just go watch The Room.
Yeah,
But yeah. But it's one of those movies where I feel like you can, I'd probably watch it a couple more times on Netflix. It's one of those movies where you can kind of get your friends to watch it with you. Have some beer and pizza. Kind of have a good time watching it. I appreciate the effort they put in it, because I can tell that they tried. It's not like they got this and they're like, just do whatever. I feel like they had a purpose in doing what they were trying to do. But to me, and I know we're going to talk about this, but to me, the ending kind of went off the rails a little bit. And that's kind of when I kind of zoned out of the movie for a little bit. So I'm going to actually give this a 7 out of 10. I'm going to give it a C. So now that we got that out of the way, let's talk spoilers. So if you guys have not seen the movie, go watch it and come back to this part, because we're going to just go all in with this.
Okay. All right. Spoilers. So we were about to talk about L. Should
Right.
we go ahead and just address the? I don't know if to call it a complaint or just. I'm a little
A
confused
nitpick.
about this, but Okay, all right. First of all, my opinion is Fennell. I thought the guy that got to play him was really great, and they did portray him pretty accurately.
Right.
But the ending, where he kind of goes a little nuts, that seems a little out of character for him.
Yeah,
Again,
that
this isn't. It's not the same L.
to me he kind of acted more like Near towards the end.
Yeah, he did some stuff that I thought was very emotionally driven, which doesn't seem to fit the character too much.
Nah.
He's not like that. He's very logical. His entire thought process is, okay, I got a goal and I'm going to do everything to get there, and I'm not going to let my emotions, take me one place or another.
Yeah,
because guy who would ever fall in love or
right.
anything like that.
Because like in the anime, I remember like he even like told like his dad, he was like, I'm not gonna go in there because Kira is trying to goad me emotionally to do this, and I know he's trying to do this, so I'm gonna just stay back and let this unfold. So he was very calculated and very kind of driven but he also had his own limits. And in this movie, once what's his name? His handler.
Watani? Was it
Watani? Yeah, something like that. Once he got kidnapped, and then eventually, he got killed. That's kind of when he went off into the deep end, which to me, I don't think his character would have done that.
No, he really wouldn't have. I mean, he would have kept going with the investigation. He wouldn't have. Here's the thing: L isn't a violent character. He's not violent at all. He's, like I said, he's very logical in the way he thinks. He doesn't act, his emotions. He acts with his mind. So that, by the way, I know we're on the topic of L, but Light, I kind of forgave that because I know he's such a different character in this adaptation. But the fact that L was kind of accurate in the beginning was a little shocking when he actually goes out there and starts, pulling out a gun and going on car chases, because that doesn't fit him very well.
Right. Yeah. Like because I remember that, because I remember when L was talking to Light, and Light was like, all right, if you think I'm Kira, why don't you kill me? And he's like, oh, I don't use a gun, that's too sloppy, I put people away. And then towards the end he uses a gun. I'm like, dude, you contradicted yourself there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I found that whole thing kind of weird, that he just kind of he was resorted to doing that. But since we're on spoilers, let's talk about what's her name, Mia? Because I always call her Misa from the anime.
Yeah, so I have a bit of a problem with Mia. Well, there's something I like about her, or something I don't.
Right.
Actually, Mia, it isn't too much a problem with Mia. I don't have too much of a problem with Mia. I've got more of a problem with the relationship between Mia and Light. Now,
yeah, that was early.
That was a relationship that I personally didn't find very believable. There was nothing about it that felt off.
Right.
And now the thing I liked about it was the fact that they kind of turned Mia, or Misa, whatever, into the villain of the movie. And I thought that was fascinating. That in a way, she's actually a bit smarter than Light. Sorry, a bit smarter than Light. In the original, she was kind of a tool. I mean, I don't mean like she was a tool. No, I mean she was a tool for Light.
Yeah, because Light was very opportunistic, and he kind of realized that she had a affection for him, so he used that to his own advantage. And in the movie, it was kind of switched, like their roles were kind of switched in this movie, which I thought was a pretty interesting twist. And I was like, okay, I can roll with this a bit.
Yeah, and I kind of like that. But it's still like the relationship, the whole like, ooh, I love you, and this and that. I didn't feel it. It didn't really connect with me too much.
It didn't feel natural at all. It was kind of like Light was like, yeah, you wanna know how I do this? Then like he asked her like if he could kiss her, and then they did that, and then they were having sex while he was killing people off. It was a very, very strange relationship to me, and it didn't really feel progressive or natural to me. And yeah, that's my thoughts on it. It didn't really feel like a real relationship to me. To me, it kind of felt like she had been taking advantage of him the whole time.
Yes, and that's because that's pretty much what was going on.
Right.
Also, how stupid was it that Light has this death note? And the first thing he does is goes over to this girl he likes, and he's like, "Hey, check it out."
Oh yeah, that was really dumb. That was really dumb on his end.
What was that?
I said it was really dumb on his end that he did that.
Oh yeah.
Cause
Right.
it was like she asked him why he was acting kind of funny. And he was like, "Oh, no reason." And or no, she was asking like if he saw like him get killed. He was like, "Yeah, I saw it." And he was like, "You want to know how I did it?" And I'm like, "Dude, why would you do that? Why would you do that, my dude?" And then he's like, "All right, don't get freaked out. Look behind you." Because Ryu's right there, but since she doesn't have the death note, she can't see him. And then he's like, "All right, I'm gonna write this person's name. I'm gonna write this scenario. Watch the news." And then that exact scenario plays out, and a normal person would be horrified and run away. But it seemed as if she was kind of turned on by it, which was kind of weird to me.
Yeah. Now, I kind of like how the original manga did it, where she kind of comes in a little late into the story. She's a big old Light fan, and you know,
She's a pop star.
Yeah, like a pop star or something. She's like, "Oh, I really like you," and all. And
And
Light's like, "Ooh, this is great. I can use her."
Because she's got the Shigami eyes too.
Yeah. And I thought all of that was really cool. It was kind of a shame that they kind of got rid of that. And like I said, I can't see this version of Light ever getting into a relationship just so they can use that person for their own personal needs. Like,
right.
That doesn't seem like something this Light will do. He's not the type of character. Like, he's very, I don't know what the word would be. I don't want to call him dumb. He's kind of dumb.
He was kind of dumb in this.
Which, by the way, speaking of Light being kind of dumb, that was really weird to me because at the very end of the movie, he does something that's a little out of character, which is he plans the whole thing with the Ferris wheel. That entire,
like that caught me off guard.
Yeah, because I mean, you don't expect that from this type of character. You don't expect that from this version of Light.
It's like he bamboozled the audience, man. He was like, "Oh yeah, I've been acting dumb the whole time." Like, where the hell did this come from? That's kind of my thinking of it. So he starts off as like this kind of bumbling, love struck kind of dude who doesn't make the best decisions. And all of a sudden he's like orchestrating this whole plot where he falls in the water, she falls in the plants, the page burns on this time. This one criminal keeps him alive. This other criminal comes in and gives him the book, and I'm like, dude, like, where did this come from? Because this is not the same character I was watching.
Yeah, it is kind of strange.
That's kind of when it went off the rails to me a bit.
For me, it's weird because I kind of appreciate the fact that they showed us the smart side of Light, but it's also kind of weird because but there was nothing that really implied that he was like this.
Yeah,
nothing
like he
in the movie led to this. It just
like,
happened.
Yeah, he went from a normal guy to a super genius in a second.
Yeah, which was kind of bizarre because, like I said, I was just like, "Oh wow, well, I guess this version of Light is a bit of a dumbass," but it turns out he's not.
Nah, he's been playing us the whole time, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of like a rainmaker kind of thing.
Also, he's like, how in the manga it took a while for L to actually figure out that this guy was like Kira.
It took him 5 minutes.
In this movie, he sticks out like a sore thumb. I mean, I'm it didn't take him even less than it did for him to figure it out. Because this guy, like I said, I told you, he's very sketchy. The guy like gets, he gets in detention all the time. He's very emotionally driven to do really stupid stuff. He gets in fights with his father all the time, which by the way, that's something that the original Light never did. He was very clean, and this guy is messy. He's so messy.
Yeah, and like Light was acting really sketchy around his father too, because like he was kind of abruptly asking about like that L dude. He was like, "Yeah, like you know anything about that guy?" And like he would kind of stare at him and kind of cock his head a little bit. And I'm like, dude, you're kind of like you're kind of being a little sketchy, man. Because in the anime, Light was kind of like on the down low. He kind of kept his nose to the ground. Like he did, like in the anime, he went as far as to like buying like porno magazines when they were surveilling him. And in this movie, he was like doing anything but being subtle, which and like the whole thing with Al kind of figuring him out in the first 5 minutes was because in the anime, like, and I'm gonna spoil the anime a little bit, so if you guys haven't seen that, I'm sorry, but we're already in spoiler territory. But as soon as as soon as Al figures out that Light is Kira, that's when he dies. And in this movie, Al kind of gets defeated because this guy hits him with a piece of wood, and then he what happened? Did he like get the piece of the Death Note and like he was kind of planning writing his name or something like that? That whole thing was kind of weird to me.
That whole thing with the ending, I think they might be implying that they have plans for a sequel. That was very much like it was a cliffhanger because L has a piece of the devil. He is about to write something on, but we never see him write anything. We don't see Light die. So
and then Ryuk comes in and he starts laughing and he says, "You humans are so interesting," which is something that he actually said in the anime, like towards the beginning of the series. And then like I kind of fast forwarded through the credits to see if there's anything like after the end, and there wasn't. And I was like, wow, that was surprising that it ended that way. So yeah, I don't know if they're planning a sequel or not. I hope not, because I don't think it did well enough to warrant a sequel, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I'm actually, if they do make a sequel, I'm going to watch it, and I'm interested in where they could take the story after this. Because here's the thing: even though I have a lot of problems with Death Note movie, I am interested in the changes they made, because that was for me the most interesting thing about the movie, seeing how different it was. Even if the differences, even if I didn't agree with a lot of the changes they made, it was still kind of interesting to see how certain versions of the character would do things.
Right.
Even if I didn't like it.
Right. Speaking of interesting choices, the soundtrack to this movie was pretty weird too, because they had like 80s kind of rock music in this movie too, like with the prom.
I actually really enjoyed that. The one thing I really liked, and I'm not sure if everybody was into it, I actually liked the 80s soundtrack.
I got you.
Maybe it's because I just really like music in the 80s, but I thought it was an interesting thing to make, and I liked it.
Right. No, like I was digging it, like in the Rift TV. I was like singing along to it, but to me, it just kind of caught me off guard because I wasn't really expecting them to play that type of music in the movie. Yeah, but I do like how they kind of did a little remix of that of the one of these scores in the Death Note anime in the movie. Like they kind of had a little remix of the kind of light Yagami theme, which I thought was kind of cool.
I will say, I mean, I really love in the original anime how they had like this big old scary orchestra, playing in the background. And that was awesome. There were a lot of really cool moments with that music.
I was expecting them to play the second anime opening theme. I would have jammed out to that if they did that shit. Because that was like one of my favorite openings in the anime. was the that kind of deathcore one that they had. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Let's see, Death Note. I think it's called "What's Up, People" by Maxim the Hormone.
Honestly, my favorite just music from is opening and Soul Eater, but that's just
Oh yeah, Soul Eater has a really good opening.
actually for both halves of Soul Eater, I like Paper Moon and I liked the first one, which I think was
Yes. So this is it right here, y'all. Yeah, that's it right there. But yeah, I agree. Soul Eater, because that was actually like the second anime I watched. But Soul Eater had that the first intro, which was kind of like rock metal heavy, and then Paper Moon was kind of more of a ballet kind of rock song, and I thought it kind of fit the tone they were going with that one.
Yeah, they're both really good.
Yeah.
But I think we should get back on the topic of Death Note.
Right. Yeah, we're kind of getting a little off topic there.
Yeah. So I really am trying really hard to not like let my opinions of the original, which I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's one of the greatest mangas ever written.
Yeah, people should definitely check it out.
About the movie, but the truth is, the reality is that the original was really, really well made. They put so much effort into making that manga and anime, like into how everything would work, all the rules. It was really complicated, but that's just not something you can do in a movie.
Right.
I mean, you could never. I mean, you could try. I haven't seen the Japanese Death Note movie.
I've seen clips of it.
I have to see it at some point so I can actually get all the opinions on how Death Note should be turned into a movie. But I know that it's very hard to get something that works so well on paper or like a long, running TV series like the Death Note anime, and trying to compress that into a better way. The movie was like an hour and 40 minutes. I think it could have been 2 hours and 30 minutes. It should have been longer because that's a story that requires a lot of time to explain things. And even if this version of the movie didn't have all the rules or all the complicated details that the anime did, like there were no Shinigami eyes, they didn't have that. They didn't have the little drawer that Light built where you could hide the Death Note, and if somebody found it, the whole thing would just ignite into fire. They didn't have any of that. Because this version of Light just isn't that smart.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't be able to figure any of that out. But yeah, I was thinking when they first announced that Netflix was doing this, I was like, all right, they're gonna make this like a TV series. But then they like said it was gonna be a movie, and I was like, ooh, I don't know how I feel about this. And after watching this, yeah, I think they should have like maybe made this into like a TV series or something like that.
I was hoping they would because this feels like something that would work better as a TV show than it does as a movie. Now, I'm going to tell you this. The version of the Death Note Netflix movie or the Death Note, Hollywood movie that we got right now on Netflix is a billion times better than what we could have gotten. There was, and by the way, you can look this up, and it's true, there was a version of the Death Note movie, a live-action American Death Note movie that they were planning on making that would have had the Death Note, but it wouldn't have had Ryuk in it.
Wait, what?
And yeah, they were actually planning on doing something where, and not just that, they were trying to make Light into more of a good guy, a protagonist. Light isn't a hero. He's not a good guy. He's not going to use the Death Note for good.
He turns into the villain in the anime.
Yeah, here's the thing. Light, now, it did feel like they were trying to kind of do that with this movie, and I didn't like the fact that they try to kind of justify some of the things he did. It's like, I didn't kill the FBI directors. I must have been Ryuk. It turns out it's actually Mia. That was
I didn't kill my dad, even though he did in the anime.
Yeah, no, but in the anime, Light is a messed up individual. He does not have any mercy. If he feels like he has to kill you, he will kill you. It doesn't matter. He doesn't care. He doesn't. I mean, the guy is already a god of death. He doesn't need wings or Shinigami eyes. So this version of Light felt like he was kind of watered down a bit
Yeah.
from the. Yeah, he was not cold and calculated. He was just acting, because of the way he felt. It's like, oh, I don't like people. I'm gonna kill them all. No. But
Right.
the original Light really thought about what he was doing. He thought about how he was killing people, when he was killing people, where he was killing people. Like, the guy experimented on people he was killing. He did weird things with them so that he could see if any of his plans would work. The guy studied the Death Note more than he studied his homework.
Yeah, like he experimented different ways to stage people's deaths so that it wouldn't be obvious that it was him.
Yeah, and this guy just, he was like, I'm gonna find new fun ways to kill people. Ooh, this guy's gonna get decapitated. This guy's gonna have a knife shoved up his throat. And it didn't really, none of it really mattered though, because he wasn't doing it with a purpose. He was just doing it for doing it. You didn't get to see until the very end. That is, at the very end, he started implementing all that, the stuff that the original Light would have done. Like, okay, Mia's gonna grab the paper and it's gonna fall on fire, and it's all gonna fall apart really well, and none of that happened. Here's something else.
All right.
Okay, so something I thought was really weird. In the original Death Note, a person couldn't do something that was like impossible for him to do. That wouldn't make sense for him to do.
Right.
And I mean, they had a little bit of that with Watani telling Light straight up, "I don't know what L's name is," because he doesn't. He really doesn't. That's what he
right.
Away. But it felt like every time he gave a command to someone, it wasn't just coincidence that it happened. No. It all kind of happened like they were robots, like they were being mind.
They are like zombies in a way.
Yeah, instead of them actually just do it, like it didn't feel like it was something that they did themselves. It felt like it was something Death Note was doing. So the Death Note isn't supposed to work like that. It isn't supposed to let you control people like they're just drones,
Right.
It was supposed to be stuff that would be believable for them to do. So when you start seeing these people just randomly get together in groups and jump off a building at the same time.
And then doing a salute and getting run over by a car.
Yeah. Like, all of that just kind of felt really weird. Like, why would Watani drive all the way over there? And why would he do any of that? It doesn't make any sense, right?
Right.
So that was a little strange, a little different. The Death Note really does work a bit differently than it did in the manga. I believe the 7 days thing wasn't in the original. I think it might have been a longer period of time.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh, if you don't use the Death Note in 7 days, I have to pass it on to someone else.
Yeah,
so
that was different too. One more thing I want to kind of add is with the whole, I'm gonna piggyback a little bit back to a topic we were talking about where Al kind of was Light, his rhyme and reasoning of killing people, when he after he killed the whole school bully guy, he ended up writing down the guy that killed his mom and got away with it. And to me, I felt like he kind of did that out of spite. It's like it's a personal grudge he's trying to settle. When in the anime, Light was writing down all these criminals' names and figured out that they were all dying. He's like, all right, I got something here. But to me, it kind of felt like he made it a bit too personal. And then, to your point, when it got to the point where it was like innocent civilians, he was like, no, I'm not going to do that. When later, because Light was kind of developing a god complex in the anime, if anyone breathed down his neck the wrong way, he would kill them. So, yeah, that's just my point. It felt like he kind of, that's just that self-explanatory with my thoughts there. But yeah, any other points you wanna talk about, man?
Yeah, I realize this is definitely a very extremely American version.
Right.
the Death Note story in a lot of ways. One of them being, okay, his mother dies, so what does this American protagonist do? He gets revenge on the person who killed his mom. And that's supposed to make us feel like we can kind of relate with him. It's supposed to make him kind of a hero. It's like, oh, he's not just killing a guy to purify the earth. No, he's doing it, because he killed his mother. So, but the original Light would just kill criminals just to scare people away.
Right.
This guy was very kind of, he's a safe version. He's a very safe person. It's like you don't feel too bad if you were to root for him, which, by the way, it's very hard to root for his character.
It really is.
It's very hard to root for his version of Light. You can kind of root for the original Light because even if you don't agree with what he's doing, you kind of want to see him do it because he's just it's so interesting to see.
He's so intelligent too, which is another reason why people like him.
Yeah, like I like him not because of what he's doing, but the way he does it.
His thinking about
this
it.
Version of Light doesn't have that going for him. He doesn't have a very interesting way of killing people. He doesn't think about the way he kills people. He just kills people.
Right. Yeah. See, I would say just watch the anime first, but if you don't feel like doing that, then you can just give the movie a try. Watch it with your friends, have some pizza and beer or something, and kind of watch it that way. I will say I really hope that Netflix doesn't end up doing a Tokyo Ghoul movie, because I know that Japan's working on one right now, but just the series, that's a really kind of complicated series to turn into a movie anyways. And after what they've done with Death Note, I'm kind of worried with what they would do with something like that. Yeah.
No, I'd be a little worried about that. I hope at some point. Now, I haven't seen Ghost in the Shell, the anime or the movie, but I heard that was all right.
Yeah, the movie was okay.
I want to see an adaptation of an anime that I really like, done really well. Like you can completely westernize it, make it take place in America, do all that stuff.
Right.
But the thing is, the Death Note movie didn't have the spirit of the Death Note anime.
No.
It didn't go. It was so different in the way it approached the story. Like you could have cut it down. You could have made like a shortened version of the original anime and still made it feel like Death Note, but they didn't. They changed it, and in one way that's all right. I kind of like seeing different versions of a story I already like, but in another way, it just doesn't feel the same.
Right. I will say one or two anime series that I think they could probably do a really good adaptation of if they did it in an American way would be either One Punch Man or My Hero Academia, because those are like, those are two kind of superhero type animes. They'd be really easy to kind of modify or adapt. So I think something like that could be something that they could do really well.
Definitely.
All right, well, I'm about to watch Beetlejuice because I got the Worn Doll T-shirt and I found it at the used bookstore. Anything you want to say to the viewers before we leave?
I think I might start doing this more often. I actually kind of enjoy reviewing movies with you. So maybe you might see me sometime.
All right, I look forward to it. Anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to plug before we leave?
Not really. I don't have a lot of things to plug at the moment.
All right.
You're doing a good job with your channel. Glad to see it grow.
Thank you.
And I really enjoyed this.
I enjoyed having you on here, man. It's been a while. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Zagattack2995. Please, for the love of God, use the K. I really hate when people use the H because it's not the same thing. It's really not. You can, let's see. YouTube's broken, but make sure you guys are subscribed. Hit the gimmick like button. And thanks for hanging out, y'all. Blech.